So Antix audio is born. Yeah, great, cool. So yeah. Oh man. Right. Okay. Okay. So what we basically have here is, as you saw before, you saw the stuff before. We've got the keyboard here on its stand. We've got the MIDI keyboard controller, which is what will be used with the computer when it comes in. With the music program, that will be used in conjunction with that, because obviously the music program and the sound card that's with it, or interface, whatever you like to call it, they together activate the sounds that are, they activate sounds, and the MIDI controller keyboard, well, you can see I'm not very good at explaining this stuff, but anyway, there you go, MIDI controller keyboard. And I've got my 12-string acoustic guitar, I've got my electroacoustic guitar, I've got the electric guitar, which really needs replacing. I think I'd like to get a new electric guitar before too long. There's the drum kit, which I got recently, the Yamaha DT Explorer electronic drum kit. Yeah, and there's an old computer there, which is probably going to be of no use whatsoever. And there's a few shelves there with a few bits of miscellaneous stuff. Yeah, with a few bits of miscellaneous stuff. Yeah, I don't know why that's so funny, but there you go, somehow it is. On those shelves I've got my digital recorder, my Boss BR1180 digital recorder. I've got a few leads, I've got a couple of harmonicas, I've got my little bongo drum, which, you know, it's a bit of fun I suppose, here and there, and maybe, you know, useful for a bit of novelty. And I've got, for what it's worth, a duck whistle, yeah. And I've got a few plectrums, a few guitar plectrums in the in a little holder up there. Oh, I've forgotten. There are two monitors. There are two BX5A monitors. A pair of those monitors that I'm using for the drum kit at the moment. But that's temporary. I've also got here several amplifiers. A little Marshall bass amp, the little Roland Microcube guitar amp, and an old Squire guitar amp, very old. I've had that years and years. That's pretty. It's quite clapped out really, but actually it does work well if you just wiggle the knob enough. It does work. And I've got a V-amp to Behringer guitar multi-effects unit, which I haven't used for yonks. But there you go. You know, it's there. There is my bass guitar as well, my 5-string bass, but that's not here at the moment. That's in Newport at the moment. So yeah. Oh, there's an electric guitar there which has no strings. It's just a bit like an old relic. It's actually my second ever electric guitar, which is redundant now. But when I got it, I was nearly, I think, yeah. That's right. I just turned 21 when I got that one, and I called it Excalibur 21. Yeah. You know, this seems like a really, you know, pretty silly little room. Really, it's just, what's the big deal? Okay, Glenn's got a little room. You know, you can do musical bits and pieces in it. But this is just the beginning. You don't know how long this will go on. I mean, you know, we don't know the future. How long will this be for? It could be for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 25. I think you get the idea, don't you? We don't know, because this, you know, no one here has got a crystal ball. We happen to believe in a God who knows the future, but we ourselves don't, you know, we don't have a crystal ball. There are some plugs, there are sockets, there are sockets, and there are switches on the sockets, and there are plugs, some plugs in some of the sockets, yeah. And there are 3 lights, as you saw before, so I don't want to get too bogged down, but yeah, you get the idea. I'm not going to get too detailed. There's a few hooks around, you know, a few pictures, maybe, who knows. At the moment, it just seems like a bit of an average room with a few average bits in it, but my long-term aim, so at the moment, it's just a practice room, right? But my long-term aim is to have this as a little recording studio area. I've got a Mac, I've got an iMac, an Apple iMac, you know. And eventually that will come in here, but I want to check up about internet connection first, because this is quite separate from the house, obviously, because it's right across the back garden, which you would have seen at first in this particular little film. Need to sort out about an internet connection, and then hopefully I can move the Mac in here. And then I've got a computer, and on it Logic Pro 8, part of the Logic Studio suite, which has now been superseded by Logic Pro 9, but Logic Pro 8 is still pretty good, you know. Logic Pro 8 on an iMac with a PreSonus Firebox recording FireWire interface sound card, if you like. That's a fairly decent foundational setup for a basic little studio. Yeah, I would have thought. Certainly certainly for what I want to do anyway. You know, it's never going to be Abbey Road, but hey, you know. But I just want to make it the best it can be, and however long that takes, you know. Once the computer comes in here, then this can become a recording studio as well. As I say, I have got my Boss BR1180 digital recorder here with CD burner that I've used to record an album before. I'll tell you more about all that in another interview, but for this one I'll just stick with what's here. I won't go into any history or anything right now, but I don't know if anyone will want to watch it or listen to it when I do, but hey, you know. You know, once the Mac comes in here, then it really can become a recording studio, because as I say, I've got the digital recorder in here, so I could record with that already now, and with the stuff that's in here, limited though it is. But really it's when the Mac comes in here that it becomes a studio. But even then, you know, so now it's a practice room, right? That's stage one. Stage two, we'll be getting internet connection in here and the Mac in here, so that recording can start in here. But then I think phase three after that will be really filling the place out with carpet. There's just a rug and a foot mat at the moment on the floor. But hopefully, eventually, for you know, stage three would have there being the implementation of some, you know, the carpet, some carpet, to bring more comfort to the floor and more soundproofing to the floor, and hopefully have some soundproofing on the walls and on the ceiling, maybe, I don't know, within reason. You know, I'm on a tight budget. You know, I have, you know, in the last couple of years I have been given some money through family that I can do things with, and that's how I was able to get the Mac and things like that, and this keyboard probably, you know, this drum kit, yeah, you know, but it's still, you know, it's still, and that's wonderful, and that's, I feel very, you know, hopefully I'm very thankful for that, and you know, it's a great blessing. But you know, it still has its limits, obviously. You know, I'm not a rich man. I feel that eventually it'd be great if, you know, obviously it could be used as a practice room, as it can now already, but also as a small recording studio that is soundproofed and hopefully reasonably comfortable. It would be great if there could be tea and coffee in here. That would be the icing on the musical cake, I think. Yeah, that would be the practical icing, or that would be the refreshment icing on the creative cake. You know, but there are other bits I need to get. I feel I need to get some balanced leads, some jacks, some XLRs, you know, that kind of thing. And it'd be good maybe if I got another guitar amp to add to what's already there, not to replace anything necessarily. A small Marshall guitar amp would be good. It might be good to get a new electric guitar, as the one I've got is, you know, it's all right. It does the job, but it's, you know, ideally it'd be great to get a new one. What else would I need to get? I need to get a couple more harmonicas eventually, would be good, to replace the one I lost, and so forth. Yeah, well, I hope this has been of any interest, and I hope it's, you know, not been too unbearable. And well, thanks for listening if you have gotten this far, and thanks for watching if you have gotten this far. And this is Mr. Glenn R. Levitt on the 5th of May, Wednesday the 5th of May 2010, in Antix Audio. God bless.